Warning: the following podcast contains strong language which some listeners may find offensive. If you do,
Up yours! That's only if you don't listen to the podcast. Otherwise, not up yours.
did you know the Untitled Wrestling Podcast is on all of the social media outlets? Give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, or even a review if you're feeling generous. Facebook and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Twitter, Twitch and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod.
And then we move on to the two big ones. So we'll start with Female Wrestler of the Year. And obviously you can guess what the last category is going to be after that then. So, Female Wrestler of the Year, we have Athena, we have Timeless Toni Storm, we have Rhea Ripley, we have Io Sky, we have Hikaru Shida, we have Willow Nightingale, Masha Slamovich, Bayley, and Julia.
Oof. Can I immediately just say, come and get rid of Bayley because she has lost almost every match this year.
Yeah, she's lost arguably the most matches in WWE. I think she's up there. Yeah.
Well, according to the leaked fake document that's going on the internet, she's going to win the Rumble. So it might be a big year for her next year, but we'll see. But not this year, maybe. Sorry. Right. Shida.
She's only come back recently.
She's not been around an awful lot. She's won the title twice, but she's also lost it twice.
Yeah.
Was she not like one of the original like women's champions of AEW?
Yes.
She was the third.
Yeah. She beat Nala. Who beat Rio.
That's it.
But yeah, I think we can take Shida off because I don't think she's... Again, it's the booking's fault. I don't think she's been given an awful lot to do. And I think she doesn't quite hang on this list with some of the other women on here. So
Can I make an argument to take Toni Storm off?
No.
Because, when did the Timeless Toni Storm stuff start?
So the Timeless stuff started like just before All In.
Was it?
But then she's also like prior to that, she was women's champion for like.
So she lost the belt just before All In. Shida was a champion for like 2 weeks before All In, and then she lost it to Saraya, and that basically fractured Toni to the point where she started to like at All In was when she's like started losing her mind. That's when she slapped Saraya's mum by mistake and stuff like that.
Okay, so 6 months that gimmick's been about. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the reason I ask is, has she been more entertaining as Timeless Toni Storm than not? And if so, how much of that outweighs?
I think she's had a very strong year because the first half of the year she was women's champion in like a very dominating champion role, and then the second half of the year she was this sort of like broken, like paranoid, like she was like obsessed with the idea that her best days were behind her and she was trying to recapture her glory, and then it culminated in her actually then winning the title back. So she's actually finished her story, but she's not. There's still more to go. If it helps, her and Alex Reynolds did a word for word remake of the "Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal" scene in Home Alone.
I've seen a very brief clip of that, but
which was excellent.
Also with Toni, like to kind of like go back to my point about Hangman earlier, where he lost the belt and then didn't really have anything to do. She lost the belt and immediately started like this sort of character arc, which has then culminated in her winning the belt back.
Okay.
I think she had a brilliant year.
As opposed to say Shida, who just lost the belt and then went away for a month and then came back and had another match. Yeah.
Personally, for me, I'd say Rhea and Toni should be locked in, and we just discussed a third.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So hang on, we'll put
Toni. Hang on. Do you say Toni and Rhea?
Well, I agree with Rhea.
Rhea's not really defended all that much.
Can we put Toni up first, and then can we talk about Rhea? Because I think Rhea's a bit problematic in that she's not really done enough. If you're talking about a champion who's had a good year, I think you're talking about Io Sky.
She won Rhea won the Rumble, and then she won the title, and she's had the dominant reign as the title.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look,
she hasn't really defended it that much.
She's not defended it all that much. I think it helped. And again, going back to the stuff I was saying with Judgment Day, if she was if she wasn't in Judgment Day, would we be having this conversation? Is it because she's in Judgment Day and they've been featured so prominently?
I think she'd still be in that position, but I see your point with the Judgment Day thing.
She wrestled Raquel Rodriguez a lot.
Yeah. There's 2 or 3 for me. I'd put personally over Rhea in that list that we have still left.
Okay.
I would put Athena up there.
I love Rhea. I think she's awesome.
I'd put Athena up there.
Yeah, well, for me, Athena wins it.
Athena's had the best year.
Has she not had like the championship for like a year? Yeah.
She won it last December.
But not only she had it, she's also defended it against really good wrestlers all year.
Yeah,
and
she's had a stellar year.
So I think Athena has to go up. And then if you're looking for a third one, I mean, I'd say probably Io Sky. I love Willow. Willow's not her. I think next year's Willow's year. I think she's set for a big year. Masha.
Masha's had a fucking strong year.
I admittedly don't know enough about.
So Masha's won the GCW World Championship this year off Nick Gage.
Yeah.
She's wrestled all over the world. She's the longest reigning WXW Women's Champion.
Oh no, she lost that unification match literally the other day.
She was then, wasn't she? Because she lost it the other day. And
she was in the PWI men's, like she was in the top 20.
Yeah, she's fucking excellent. She had the obviously she's one half of the TNA Women's Tag Champions. I couldn't remember the fucking name of the belt then for a second. Yeah, she had a really, really strong year.
I mean, I really enjoyed what I saw of her at Liverpool. I thought she was excellent.
Yeah. And also with Masha, she's really diverse. Like she can go out and wrestle like a hard hitting brawl. She can wrestle like a technical match, or she can go full death match.
Yeah.
Like out of the 3 people, well, if we were to include Masha out of the 3 people, I'd say she was the most like diverse of a talent by the like what she can do in the ring, for sure. Because she, as I say, she can work so many different styles. Not to say either of those 2 women there can't, but you know.
Before we move on, does anyone have any strong opinions about Julia?
And
she's
Julia's
superb.
Great.
I think she's great.
I don't
think she's a touch on. Well, certainly not on the 2 that we've already kind of elevated up.
I mean, this time next year, when like WWE stands are saying she's the best wrestler in the world, we'll probably have a conversation. But you know, I feel like again, it could be more of a case of next year could be her big one. Like,
yeah, I don't think I'd put her above Io. Personally,
right,
I feel like Julia's been kind of like pushing to get a bit more eyes on her.
She's simmering.
She just hasn't. She hasn't had like the opponents. She had that really good match with Willow. She had that really good. Did she wrestle Mercedes?
No. She wrestled in Impact against another Joshi wrestler who I can't remember off the top of my head.
Like one of the matches of the year. Was it last year or was it earlier this year? It was like a Stardom match that was fucking outstanding.
She had one this year as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
She's very good.
But maybe next year then we'll give us. Well, I'll make a conceited effort to watch more Julia matches next year, and we'll try and have a proper conversation.
It says more about us than it does about her that we can't really comment much on it.
I know people don't like Joshi wrestling, really like Joshi wrestling. So apologies to if any of those people listen to this podcast. We'll try harder next year, I promise. But
recommend us some matches. We'll go watch them.
Come on Discord and drop them in the match recommendation channel. And Andy from Pub's gone through all the work. So based on the way the discourse is going, is it Masha?
Feels like it, doesn't it? It's Masha or Io.
I don't think Io should be there because she won it at SummerSlam and has defended it twice. If you're getting rid of Rhea for that reason of not defending it that much,
then you get rid of
Io as well.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
Whereas Masha's been making towns.
So it's Masha.
Masha.
Yeah.
And then are we going with Athena?
I think Athena wins. Yeah,
I think so.
Even like the we didn't really talk about it when we talked about the show, but like her build with like Billy Stark's final battle was superb. It was one of storylines of the year.
And that was the same or a similar length of time to like the timeless Tony Storm thing, where like Tony went from just losing the belt, being unhinged, and becoming what she is now. So yeah,
right.
I think, to be honest, again, I think that was a really close one with that top three.
Yeah,
because they've all had really good years.
Right then, so that is Athena is female wrestler of the year, followed by Timeless Tony Storm, Timeless Tony Storm,
right,
and Masha Slamovich.
Tiny Tim, Christmas Carol,
who did not die. Right, so on to male wrestler of the year, final category, the big one. If you're, because we live in a patriarchy, woo, go patriarchy. Male wrestler of the year, we've got Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, Seth Rollins, Gunther, Christian Cage, Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley, MJF, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, Vikingo, Speedball, and Juice Robinson. Right off the bat, before we get into the debate here, I think we take Christian out because, like I said, we gave him his flowers in the correct category.
Get rid.
Yeah,
I love Christian, but I think his work has been on the feud side as opposed to on the match side. So they've been good, but I don't think he hangs on this list.
I'd say Juice Robinson for a similar reason. Great
Juice
character,
Robinson.
Great. Like he's. There's a lot.
I want him to get a mention because I think he's done excellent work. But yeah, I don't think he's on. I don't think he's quite on the same level as some of the people on this list.
Yeah, exactly.
Juice is there for the rest of the week, maybe.
The Collision Cowboy, right? The Collision Cowboy will ride again. Don't worry.
Well, one day.
How much has Kenny Omega wrestled this year?
So he hasn't wrestled a lot, but they've all been motherfuckers.
Sure.
Literally.
No, sure.
If you were going on quality over quantity, Kenny would fucking probably piss us. To be fair.
Yeah. I'm looking at like the whole year over person, like not he's had 3 or 4 standouts. I'm looking for he's been in some great feuds. He's had some great matches, like pro. Like, it's everything, isn't it?
Kenny has wrestled 29 times this year.
Yeah. And
across AEW and New Japan.
He's had that feud with Don Callis, which we didn't mention because it's kind of been very stop-start. But the matches he's had in there, like the 6-man at All Out, All In was brilliant. The match with Takeshita All Out was fucking outstanding.
Match with Kyle Fletcher.
That match he had with Ethan Page the other week on Collision when he was like dying of diverticulitis.
The world title match with MJF was great.
That was really good.
Vikingo for the AAA Mega title.
Mm.
Remember that match? Remember that steel cage match where he nearly cut his dick off going through the cage?
What?
No,
no.
He V-triggered Moxley through the cage panel, and as it fell, it like shot up his leg and then he chopped his knob off.
Christ alive!
That was a really good match too. The two with Ospreay.
I love that shocked you, and you were like, "Oh my god!" But Big F and Joe sticking a fucking needle in someone's thing. Yeah, that was fun. Oh, brilliant.
We also got.
We'd expect that from Big fucking Joe.
That was an XPW though. We don't talk about that.
We also got the last 2 matches of the Best of 7 series against Death Triangle,
and the trios match against House of Black as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had a better year.
His two 30-minute plus matches with Will Ospreay.
I mean, I think Kenny's definitely in the argument. I do think there's people I'd put above him. But...
Right? Can we just beat around the bush? I think Ospreay has to go up straight away.
Yes.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a bad match all year, and he's had a lot of matches with a lot of people, and there's a lot of them that are going to get talked about when Jay does match of the year next week. So.
Oh yes.
You fuckers better write some lists, Ryan.
Yeah, you know I got a full list ready to go.
No, you don't.
Can we take Mox off? I just don't think this has been his best year. I think he's been good, but I don't think it's been his big year.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I argue for my WWE guys, Seth and Gunther?
Go for it.
Yes, Gunther. Yes, Seth.
Seth has wrestled at every single pay-per-view this year. Probably every house show, and Gunther has held that championship all year as well.
Yeah.
Gunther is had 5-star matches. Well, had one.
Gunther's had a match of the year contender, has become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, shook off any kind of stink that people think he had when they fucking changed his name up. Yeah. Has had consistently good matches, whether they be on pay-per-view or on TV. He's fucking superb.
I'll put Gunther up right now. I think he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just to not only to be that good, but also to be that good in the WWE environment, and to he's broken the mold basically, hasn't he? Which I think is really impressive.
Yeah.
So he goes up.
That makes the third one to go up very difficult with the likes of MJF, Danielson, Vikingo, Bailey, Strickland. Like that's.
Well, you've just massively overlooked a name there in that list there, Troy.
I was just naming a few. I wasn't pulling them all off.
I think Orange Cassidy's had a great year.
Yes, thank you, Ryan.
I didn't leave him out purposely. I was just glossing through a few. Like
I am gonna fight for Orange Cassidy here because he has done the fucking Lord's work with that international championship.
From someone who doesn't watch as much AEW, I think Orange Cassidy should be up there.
The fact that instead of putting someone else up because there's only one space left, should we try and cut a few people and make it a bit easier?
Yeah.
I think Speedball can go. I think he's been great, but I don't think it's been a particularly banner year.
I think Omega can go.
I think Kenny can maybe go. If we've got...
Yeah.
I think MJF goes. I'll say this also is out of the room. I think MJF goes. I don't think...
You fucking brave man.
Fucking hell.
I just don't...
You know what? I agree because I think MJF has had some really fucking good matches and some really good feuds. But at the same time, there's been a lot of sort of like dragging his feet with stuff. And there's been a lot of kind of like just things to kind of like lengthen the
on that similar sort of, I think Rollins can go as well. I don't think he quite hangs with the rest of the names on this list. I think he's very good.
I think he's good. I think he's been consistent.
His work rate.
But I don't think it's enough for him to be in the top 3.
Yeah.
It pains me to say this, but I think Swerve can go.
Yeah, because I don't think I think next year's his year though.
I think he's had the fucking stellar 3 months in this year.
If I could borrow a footballing parlance, I would say he's handily placed.
Yeah.
He's the last 3 months have been like he's been untouchable, but prior to that,
he is second in the league going into Christmas. He's gonna have a big January, and he's gonna come out the blocks real hot, and I think he's gonna really make 2024 his year. I don't think he's any. If Ospreay wasn't there, like compare what he's like Ospreay, Gunther. These are guys who have like changed the wrestling landscape this year.
Yeah,
Swerve's ending the year, as we've said, like white hot. Like he's arguably one of the hottest names in wrestling right now.
Yeah,
but that
it pains me to do this, but yeah, with respect, Swerve is off the list, but he's going to be huge next year, and I'll look forward to moving him into the top 3 next year.
Yeah.
I've still got Omega on that list.
I've still got Kenny. I can't stay mad at Kenny.
I think for me, it's between Danielson and Orange Cassidy.
So I think I can go on Orange Cassidy.
I think Danielson can come off. I don't think.
I suppose Danielson had like 5 months of fucking injuries.
Yeah, I don't think he's just been around enough. That's my only knock against him. And I don't want to give him. He wouldn't want it. He wouldn't want a pity party because it's his last year. That's not the type of guy Danielson is. He'd want to earn it. So I think
you can get it next year. I
think by his own rules, he has to come off the list.
If we're going to base this off work rate, I think Vikingo goes up.
But then I raise you Orange Cassidy, who's literally
Orange Cassidy is great. Yeah,
he had the best singles title run in AEW. He had 2 phenomenal matches with John Moxley. Every match he's had has been like 3.5 stars upwards. He told a really incredible emotional story, which developed his character, stayed true to what he was when he first came into AEW, and basically told this story about him, like his body just breaking down from the constant rigors of wrestling, and the way he told, I've said this on the podcast like time and time again, how he went from being like this unmotivated, like lethargic, like work shy individual, and then his sort of like hatred of Pac almost tricked himself into becoming the owner of this work rate championship belt that he just had to defend and defend and defend until his body broke down. And then at the worst possible time, he runs into Jon Moxley, who is like a fucking buzzsaw, who just annihilates him. And then he goes away, and he, because of like fortunate circumstances, he gets his rematch, he wins the title back, and then the story is he literally did this promo, he's like, it doesn't feel the same because I've not beat Jon Moxley, and then that was his goal, and then he did it, and so he completes the whole. I think Orange goes
get
him up, get him up
after that.
You spun us a yarn.
You've done the Gun Club that Jay did earlier.
Yeah, there you go.
I love Vikingo, and I love Kenny, but I think Vikingo's got a big year ahead of him, especially if he ends up coming to AEW full time. And I think Kenny is, well, yeah, Kenny's Kenny, and he'll always be there. But I think Kenny's becoming the guy who makes other people know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence the reason Will Ospreay, I think, is probably going to win this.
Oh.
I would actually, after your whole big argument you've just said there about Orange Cassidy, I'd put him first.
Tasty, I've been saying on the podcast since about March that Orange Cassidy is going to be Wrestler of the Year because of the fucking level of work that he's been putting out, and he's consistently been putting out week in, week out. I am fucking saying Orange Cassidy.
Troy, I'm on Jay's side now.
What say you?
Gunther.
So we've got two.
To the point you were saying earlier, and like you're all saying Orange Cassidy, it's fine. So go with him. I'll not necessarily argue my point, but explain why. So something you said earlier, Ben. I think Gunther has it more difficult in the platform that he's on, the environment that he's in, to stand out. Ospreay can go anywhere and is recognized. Orange Cassidy has been fucking superb and stands out because of his character, the mannerisms, all of that sort of stuff, and has had a great story. I think it's been more difficult for Gunther to step away from what is traditionally seen as this WWE work style, this, that, and the other, and to really, really stand out. Personally, I would still choose him over the other two, but there is a strong case for.
Okay, so if we can say then, so if we're talking more then about like the platform, which is a really really good point you made there, Troy, then you can almost use that as an argument against Will Ospreay, because Will Ospreay gets these huge pay-per-view matches where he has this like massive stage and these top opponents. I know he puts on 6-star matches, but like, if that's like your only measure, then fair, Ospreay wins. I would then say, yeah, well, Orange Cassidy did all of his best work on TV on a weekly show with 12, 15-minute matches, and he took like opening matches on Dynamite and made them into must-see events. And he used that to build, like I said, the best singles title run in North America of this year.
To Troy's point as well about like the whole, like, obviously Gunther having like a hard like deal with like where he was. Orange equally had that deal with that prior to this title reign. He was seen as a comedy character.
Yeah.
He's got into that and showcased that he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet.
Lads, are we giving Orange Cassidy his flowers here? Is this what's happening?
I really love Gunther though. I do want to agree with Troy as well.
I'm going into my pocket and I'm pulling out a bouquet of flowers for Orange Cassidy.
I think it would be easy to just give it to Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I don't think Will should win this just because
you could arguably give it to Will Ospreay most years in the last 3-4 years, and probably the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now onwards could arguably be in there. But I think if you're looking at what people have done to break a mold, it's Gunther or Orange Cassidy. And hearing your points and opinions now, I'd probably sway towards Orange Cassidy.
I could buy Orange Cassidy.
I'm all for Orange Cassidy.
His first match with Jon Moxley is legitimately probably still my match of the year, when Mox just beat the piss out of him. It was because he got to the point where he just knew he couldn't win, and he knew he was fucked, and like just seeing that like wash over him, and like the emotion he showed, and it breaks my heart. It's like you can again, quote The Simpsons, you can pinpoint the moment his heart actually breaks. And to make me feel like that about the guy who used to dress as Rick and Morty and eat the sandwiches in the ring and put his hand in his pockets and fall asleep. Like, that's what a fucking work that is.
Yeah. Go on.
Orange Cassidy.
Do it.
Wow. What a time to be alive. So there we have it. Wow. Male Rest of the Year, Untitled Wrestling Podcast 2023. Orange Cassidy with Gunther. I'd say Gunther in a close second, and then Will Ospreay. What a show.
If it was any other year, I would have probably sided with you guys with Gunther, but I think, as I say, Orange has just had like a fucking...
It feels like this is Orange's only swing as well. Like, this is his big, this is his moment, isn't it? This is his time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sweet.
If you put your ear to the wind now, you can just hear like another nail going as Jim Cornette's coffin as well. So that's a good a good dub for the boys.
Chuck Taylor just said shit. Chikara will never die. There you go. Yeah, thanks to everyone for joining us for this, and thanks to everyone for joining us all year. It's been a really fun year. We've done a lot of really fun, cool shit on the podcast. Hopefully, carry that on next year. Let us know what your picks were in the comments, on Twitters, on the Discord, wherever you want. Just shout them into the wind if you want. We'll hear them. And yeah, thanks very much. We'll see you next year. Ta-ra.
Bye.
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 Hello, yes, Danhausen here. Danhausen has been summoned. You must love this podcast, Hausen, the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Hausen.